All right, just hold that thought. I want us to go to Mombasa right now, where our reporter Tobias Chanji is now with us. Good morning, Chanji. Mombasa is a beehive of activities. We've seen demonstrators on the streets. Kindly bring us up to speed on what is happening, Chanji.
Avenue at the Elephant Tusks, where what is happening at the moment is that the protesters are lighting candles. Remember that people, rather 3 youths, were killed from Mombasa, and the itinerary has included that early in the morning these protesters attended a mass at the ACK church in Mombasa. Then thereafter they've come here and are being escorted by a number of police.
Heading back to Mombasa a little bit later to touch base with our reporter Tobias Chanji, who is bringing us up to speed on what is happening in Mombasa. But I come to you, Mtetezi, now. You were saying in terms of nothing has changed, has gotten worse. Why would you have that opinion?
That opinion comes with the wedding psalm moving in the country. 1 year later, police still have the audacity to kill in front of cameras, to kill unarmed people who are even not participating in protest, but rather continuing with their business. And it is just sounds normal, both to the president and to the police department. And what irks me most is that despite those killings, they continue to share fake information from the police department. And I want to differ with my friend and tell him, constitutionally, the IG or the police department is an independent body. But in the current Kenya, under the administration of President Ruto, it is a section of his office. Mm-hmm. He operates both in the State House and in the police department. And that's why you can see that no justice can be done. Mm-hmm. Because those people who are meant to offer the justice, or if like the police who shot the mask vendor,
Boniface,
and also those who killed Albert, we have been taken to roads.
Okay, let's just hold that thought there. I want us to go to listening to what Wiper leader Kalonzo Musyoka is saying, because he is addressing journalists there.
Going outside Parliament, the main entrance to Parliament, and lay wreaths there. I can tell you in the years to come, this is clear in my mind, in the years to come, this will be celebrated as a national holiday, properly, with people able to come to Parliament and without let or hindrance, without having these heavily armed policemen, armed to kill their own citizens. What a shame. So Kenyans must remain bold, Kenyans must remain resolute, and so this is a very important day. In fact, one of the most important days since this country gained independence in 1963. We have had various attempts like amending the Constitution and giving ourselves a new Constitution in 2010. And actually on the strength of this Constitution, these young people came out. Under Article 1, what I'm wearing here is the only thing they were armed with was Article 1 of the Constitution. They are very clear. They're very clear. We have here a document that will stand the test of time. And nobody, no William Ruto or Kanja or Sakaja can do anything about it. This is a new country. And therefore we must prepare it for the owners, the young Kenyans.
As the leader of the United Opposition, you repeatedly said that today will be a public holiday to join the young people. What was the plan? You've already mentioned laying of wreaths, which appears, or so far looks like, may not happen. But what did the opposition have in mind when you declared today a public holiday?
Because of heavy remembrance. This is not the usual type of remembrance. In 2023, we are not even allowed to come to a church like this, and we really must thank the Catholic Church for their magnanimity and their sense of understanding. In fact, we understand that on the 29th, the entire all the Catholic faithfuls and the Catholic Church. We had this from Archbishops Anyolo and Muheria and others. We'll be commemorating this event. Therefore, it was out of a sense of duty and a sense of nationhood that we declared this a public holiday. We didn't want to gain cheap political mileage because we are not the type to do so. It is out of a deep sense of commitment to this country and the welfare and the future of this country that we made those announcements.
Noah Kipkembo from KTN.
Yes, no.
My question is sort of calling to order the political class. And I know we don't want to mention classes in this particular situation, but this issue of goons, it is an economic disparity question and people taking advantage of that disparity and utilizing people against its own people. Call to order the political class in this issue of goons, please, sir.
Goons. Goons. I'm told even the international community have actually accepted that terminology. In their very strongly worded statement yesterday, they have come out and called out because they are partners. Nobody, I've seen an attempt by chairman of a committee in parliament trying to say, oh, non-interference. When it comes to the issue, and here I speak to you as senior counsel and a leader in this country, when it comes to and a former foreign minister, I can tell you this. When it comes to the issue of human rights, they are universal. You cannot run to a corner there called Kenya and plead non-interference. You cannot even talk about Vienna Declaration, right? Because this is a matter that was canvassed seriously before the floor of the United Nations General Assembly and agreed that when it comes to the issue of human rights, particularly basic, and the beauty about our Constitution, 2010, is so strong on the issue of basic rights. That's why I saw somebody when we went to church with Mheshimiwa Eugene and the other friends there. A gentleman walked inside there carrying a poster. And he said, hawkers' rights are also human rights.
Correct.
Why shoot a dead and hawker? Why? Why shoot him? All right? We pray, still continue to pray for Kamau, that God will have mercy on that young man and the family. I listened to the cries of his mother, distraught. They are not able to talk to him. And so we want to plead that and thank the hospital, Kenyatta National Hospital, for trying to help him, carrying out 2 operations. But rights. Even under Article 43, by the way, we are all socialized to Article 37, even what IG is able to quote, yeah, the right to peaceably and unarmed to demonstrate. You cannot change that. So Article 43, on those other human rights, social rights, very, very important. Therefore, goons who came in carrying, of course they were paid 1,000 shillings. We have seen them confessing. Thank you to the media. Thanks for the media really highlighting this, that they are saying, oh, we didn't know. It is a very shameful thing. And what will go down in history is William Ruto's administration, afraid of its own citizen, went and bribed others because they're unemployed, paid them some money to go and beat their fellow citizens. It is like this massive bribery they are calling economic empowerment. They go carrying 3 million shillings from William Ruto, 2 million shillings from Kindiki, and then after that they take the same money and they go to the next station, they do the same thing. Whom are you trying to deceive? So people are ready for that money. As Rigiji likes to say, kulia hapo, don't even take it home. All right?
Yeah, last question.
Empowerment. So they call it empowerment. Kenyans are beyond that. So I think that our Gen Zs and others are able to see that, the millennials, Zenzote are able to tell these people, stop the jokes. These are serious jokes.
And I think just before we leave the issue of goons, I think what we want to ask William Ruto, you cannot take our police over 12,000 kilometers away to deal with goons, gangs of Haiti. Then you are back home, you actually sponsor goons against your own citizens. And you let your police walk with these goons on the streets of the capital of our country. Now, who is fooling who? I think we want to tell him that, you know, you are riding on the back of a tiger. Once you create these goons, no one is capable of controlling them. That's why Haiti is where it is today. Failed leadership that allowed goons on the streets to take the law into their own hands. It is like planting the wind, you will reap the whirlwind. If you plant the wind of goonism, Bwana Ruto, Bwana Sakaja, you are going to reap the whirlwind of anarchy. That is where Haiti is today. We are not ready to let our country go down that road. Thank you very much.
Last question from me, Your Excellency, is what we saw last year, what took the people to the streets, what Kavuli here went through, abductions, is still happening even as late as last evening. Gentlemen abducted in Mombasa, a gentleman picked from Kino, others here in Nairobi and Kitengela. Yet this is the very thing that is making Kenyans angry. They will try to style it as arrest. So far we do not know where those gentlemen are, so we cannot call it an arrest. They were not informed why they were being picked. What would you say of this government or the police or doing the same things the same way? People complain of abductions, it's happening even today.
You see, it's a very wicked approach, trying to circumvent what the Constitution has laid bare, as I tried to explain earlier. Because they realize the only avenue available to them is a very primitive approach by abducting your citizens without a warrant of arrest, without anything legal. And we continue to call them out. They will be caught up with by the long arm of the law. You cannot escape it. They will be accountable. So, because for me, 25th of June will now become the Youth Transparency Day, the Youth Governance Day, and this is it. So if they continue these abductions, because one young man, for example, just sends a post, all right, then they're afraid. They're afraid. They're so afraid that they have to escape from the city. It's so amazing, so amazing. So we continue to call out on abductions, and as I said, the People's Restorative Justice Commission will hear all these cases of continuing abductions, and we'll continue to say no to it. And where occasion demands, we'll go to court. We even talked about state capture, because Kenyans will still want to know about ile mbolea duni, mbolea gush, all right? They want to know. Those are issues of trying to mess up with the economy, the Gupta type of style in South Africa, yeah, and the Andani dues. We want to know, by the way, who was paid what for that JKIA matter. And of course it was withdrawn. We know they're angry about the fact we forced them to withdraw because of our sense of nationality and making this country proud. We will not allow this. So maybe people thought opposition is weak. Now bado hawajaona anything. We'll deal with that. Thank you.
So I think we shall proceed, and
presidency used to be a symbol of national unity until a disaster happened.
Those opposition leaders led by WEPA leader Kalonzo Musyoka and DAP-K leader Eugene Wamalwa as they address pretty much the leadership of the country led by President William Ruto on what should be done. They've called on pretty much saying that today should be a national holiday, that will be a youth governance day in the future, but we wait to see that. But that Kenyans must remain bold even as they continue to push for their demands and that justice is given. We equally have images from Mombasa where Kenyans are demonstrating on the streets as well in Mombasa. Those are live images in Mombasa as demonstrators are on the streets just marching peacefully as we continue to bring you up to speed on what is happening across the country. They are marching with chants. They are marching with their messages in hand, just asking the questions as that gentleman there. What has changed? We can also see Justice for Ojwang is there with many messages, including one here on what has changed. Stop killing us. With many just waving the Kenyan flag. You can see others, that is, I think, around the ferry area, if I'm not wrong, who are just standing there witnessing what is happening on the roads. And it is a different scene from what we've seen previously, where protesters would be met with police officers, tear gas, talk about water cannons, batons being wielded at them, guns renting the air. But this is peaceful as demonstrators just walk and demonstrate as well. Nairobi as well has the same feel and vibe, and those are live images that you can see from Nairobi CBD. You can see young people engaging with police officers, shaking hands, and it is, you'd want to say it is rare occurrence that we get to see, but this ought to be how it should be, because police officers are Kenyans, they are part of us, should be engaging with protesters as they provide security, as they work together, as they work together in ensuring that the demos are peaceful. You can see police officers just mingling with the Kenyans there, and it is such images that when we see as a Kenya, as countrymen, we applaud. We look at that police officer just smiling, you know, pose for a picture, man. Let's take a selfie. These are images that then sends forth the Kenyanness, the patriotism that there is. But remember, these are demonstrators, a clear departure from how the situation has been previously. This is close to Central Police Station. This is that bridge that goes all the way to Central Police Station towards University of Nairobi. And these are images that we see, including an individual there, Kenya's bold newspaper, right there, communicating with the public. Doesn't get any better than that. Aluta continue, fallen heroes. We continue to name them. You see the image of Rex Masai there, and it is communication, keeping true to our cause, ensuring that the republic that Kenyans get to know. Not easy. Not a situation that we would have wanted to be in, but then again, Kenya's bold newspaper will always be there to enlighten you and to bring you up to speed. But then again, you can see those are just protesters walking around, police officers with them, as well as just ensuring that there is peace. Nothing has happened. No tear gas has been lobbed. The Kenyan flag dominating majority of these protests. You can see that is one individual who has decided, hata kama ni kuchoka, nitachoka lakini flag lazima ipepe. You can see police officers walking with them as well. You can see as well Kalonzo Musyoka there walking with flowers, with the wreath there, saying that he wants to head to Parliament and lay that wreath of flower in commemoration of Kenyans who were shot and died outside Parliament in last year's Gen Z protest, that is 2024, during the Reject Finance Bill 2024 protest that saw Kenyans overrun Parliament. Many were killed outside Parliament. We also have others who were shot and killed as they were walking outside Parliament. And these are the opposition leaders with flowers draped in the Kenyan flag as they leave the Holy Family Basilica heading towards Parliament. Let's just see how that will proceed, because we know that Parliament, as we speak right now, has been totally cordoned off. We've seen extra security measures put in place. We talk about the razor barbed wire that has been erected along Parliament Road by security officers. All these, as had been said earlier, that protected areas would be totally secured and cordoned off with regard to ensuring that these areas, these spaces are protected. But nonetheless, let's just see how this will go. Police officers, these are police police lorry there with police officers ahead morning. Let's just see how this will go. Will they engage? Will they have a conversation? Will they be allowed to go through? It is the moment of reckoning as Kalonzo Musyoka, Eugene Wamalwa, Enoch Wambua, and other leaders walk towards the police officers. We can see them talking, you can see them pushing forward, you can see them walking past the police officers, we can see them walking hand in hand with their flowers, we can see them actually headed towards the barricaded area to lay their wreath. You can see the water cannon. This is the water cannon that is blocking the camera, and this is what has been used to disperse the demonstrators, and this is where now with the opposition leaders will be at to lay their wreath. We see now police officers are now forming that wall between them and the barbed wire, perhaps having a conversation with police officers on the next course of action, because as you said, security has been heightened. That barbed wire that has been erected there is to deter any would-be protesters from accessing Parliament, which is regarded as a protected area. Kalonzo Musyoka and opposition leaders and other Kenyans as well, just with flowers draped in Kenyan flag, walking towards Parliament. Kalonzo saying that would be so that they lay the wreath of flowers outside Parliament in commemoration of Kenyans who were shot and killed in 2024 during the Reject Finance Bill 2024 protest that saw Kenyans overrun Parliament during that time. You can see that is the razor barbed wire fence pretty much that has been laid there, that has been put there to protect Parliament buildings. And as you can see, that is flowers finally being laid there. Police officers hand in hand with Kenyans in laying these flowers, offering security, but then again not causing any mayhem. You can see this is a police uniform, a police officer right there in police uniform. You can see allowing Kenyans to mingle with them, allowing Kenyans to lay their flags, a total departure from the way it has been before. And all these, as you look at it, if you just remember, Kenyans are doing this in remembrance of fellow Kenyans who died as they pushed that they be heard, who pushed that according to the Constitution, public participation that was taking place, that they participated in Finance Bill 2024. They were not heard. Members of Parliament went ahead and passed that bill to be an act of Parliament, and they rejected that. But as you can see, Kenyans in white t-shirts, Kenyans draped in flags, Kenyans with flowers sending a message forward. We are here to remember our fallen soldiers. We are here to say we shall never forget. And this is a departure from how it has been before. Kenyans have been allowed to mingle with police officers. I think that is Rigathi Gachagua, if I'm not wrong, who is working together with Kalonzo Musyoka. That should be one Rigathi Gachagua, but we shall confirm that as the day goes by. But as we can see, as we have confirmed, that Kenyans have laid their wreath outside Parliament buildings in that erected wall of barbed wire, razor barbed wire outside Parliament, because remember, Parliament is a protected area and no one is allowed to go beyond that point. But Kenyans have been allowed to get closer to where police officers are. Police officers have mingled with Kenyans. Police officers have guided Kenyans towards this wall and actually allow them to lay the wreath. Those are the flowers. But if you just pause just for a moment and just think what those flowers mean. It means Kenyans died. Kenyans died during a demonstration that was largely peaceful. Kenyans were shot outside Parliament. Did they deserve to die? Absolutely not. But then again, it is the position where we find ourselves today. Those are images of flowers in contrast with the Parliament buildings, a home that Kenya sends, a building that Kenyans send its leaders, donate their power to them to go represent them. And it is sad that it is right there where they were shot and killed. You can see these are Kenyans as well, with police officers. They're just engaging. So far, no tear gas has been lobbed. And this has to be Central Police Station. Why is Central Police Station important, even as we have this discussion? This is where Albert Ojwang died. He died in the hands of police officers in custody. He was arrested in Homa Bay County, Kakoth village, before he was taken to Mawego police station. From Mawego police station, DCI officers drove him from Mawego police station to Nairobi, where he was handed over to the Central Police Station, where OCS Talamu was in charge, and the individual was put in cell only for him to die in police custody. As we have this discussion today, it is all about ending police brutality. But as you can see, Kenyans have actually gone all the way to Central Police Station there, because one message that is being sent today: justice for Ojwang, end police brutality, respect the Constitution, respect the rule of law. It cannot be that you are the protectors and those that maintain law and order, but when individuals come to you in a space where any Kenyan should be guaranteed of being safe, is a place where Kenyans are dying every day. Talk about the IPON report that was released recently, indicating that more than 20 Kenyans have died in police custody, in police hands, continues to baffle many in this country. But as you can see, those are different images from across the country. We have Nairobi, those are Kenyans outside the Central Police Station. Look at Nairobi CBD, that is around the Parliament building, what is happening there. Then you go to Mombasa and you have Kenyans as well demonstrating there. And Nakuru, police officers just standing there, making sure that the security of protesters, security of businesses is safe and everyone is safe. We continue to have this discussion. We continue to give you a blow-by-blow coverage of what is happening across the country. But as you can see, there is movement around that should be Central Police Station. And finally, tear gas has been lobbed. Tear gas has been lobbed outside Central Police Station. Why has tear gas been lobbed outside Central Police Station? One would have hoped that we would not get to see this, because these Kenyans we're talking about have flags, they have their voices to chant, but finally it has happened. Tear gas has been lobbed outside Central Police Station, where Kenyans were demonstrating and chanting outside the Central Police Station. We continue to follow up on the reasons why even that tear gas was lobbed outside Central Police Station. We continue with the discussion right here in studio. You can see Kenyans running around the bridge now, and we shall be getting there a little bit later to just follow up on what is happening. Gentlemen, 1 year later, 60 Kenyans have died. I just want us to come closer to what the law says with regard to when we talk about managing protests in the country, so that we just have a basis upon which to have this discussion now. When you talk about how police should handle the protests now, first of all, the Constitution, Article 37, grants every person the right to assemble, demonstrate, and picket peacefully and unarmed. Right? Now, the Public Order Act, Cap 56, requires advance notice, at least 3 days, not more than 14 days, to the police for any public demonstration or procession. One would argue that police were given several notifications last year during the protest. Now, the National Police Service Act in Standing Orders outlines how police should respond to public gathering, ensuring proportionality and accountability. This is the law. Then let's just go to the key principles for police during protest. Now, the principle number one is facilitation, not suppression. That if I come to you and I give you notice on matters to do with, I want to demonstrate, and these are my issues, police are supposed to do what? Facilitate, not to offer, not to suppress. Now, the use of force, and this is what I want us to look at now, must be lawful, necessary, and proportionate. Lethal force is last resort, and use of rubber bullets, tear gas, or water cannons must be justified and aimed to minimize harm. Aimed to minimize harm, not to kill.
Sure.
Kiprono.
As I've said before, we have a freedom to picket, demonstrate, and present
Article
petitions.
37, yes.
Yes, Article 37 of the Constitution. But you can't, of course, picket when you have a situation where goons have infiltrated a protest. In fact, last year I joined the protest. But you have a situation where people
who have other motives, like coming to loot, kill, and steal. They will start throwing stones on the police officers. You see, if you provoke a police officer, throw a stone, they will reply back by the tear gas. And if it persists, they will then go to rubber bullet. If it continues to an extent that one of them is injured, they will also protect themselves. So one of the issues that has not come out clearly in every protest that we have done as the people of Kenya, even in 2017, even in 2023 during the economy protest by Azimio Coalition, and even last year's protest, we've not been able to differentiate between who are the genuine protesters and the goons. And that is where the discussion should come. How are we able to differentiate that me, Dennis, and my good friend here are genuine protesters, and so is a goon paid to come and disrupt the protest? Because I am sure the people who wanted to present petitions in Parliament last year were genuine protesters, genuine young people calling for the withdrawal of the finance bill. But there are those goons who came, infiltrated, and threw stones at the police. So we should be able to, as the people of Kenya, play this patriotic duty of, if you see somebody harmed in a protest, hand over to the police, so that we have a safe space to air out our views. Because we cannot be airing out our views. Police will not know Dennis and Kiprono are genuine protesters. And maybe Kiprono is holding a stone or a machete inside the pocket. So we must come to a realization that protests have evolved. And the evolution has also touched the governance system, including the National Police Service. You've just read the laws that govern protests. So we should be able to take this patriotic duty as a people, that if we see a goon, because they are among us, if in a group of 1,000 protesters, a goon will come to the middle. So we must hand them over to the police, so that in future we set a good precedent that protests can be peaceful, that the protesters can hand over the supposed goons to the police. Right. Those people who have come to destroy the property, kill and maim.
All right. Tetezi, as Kipruto speaks of Kiprono, as Kiprono speaks of goons infiltrating the protest and all that, one would, there are reports that the goons ostensibly who get into these protests are then again sent by those who are anti-protest. That would be pro-government. That would be, because even if you talk about last week's demonstrations that happened, we saw police officers escorting individuals with batons in a protest. One would argue that it is the police at that point who are facilitating goonery or goonism in these protests. But that aside, even when goons invade these protests, is response by shooting, killing, and maiming? Because the law says you should respond in a way that is proportionate.
Dennis, first I want to welcome my friend Arab Kirwa to Kenya and tell him that we are not in mass. We are in Kenya. And one, you cannot continue blaming and say that we as peaceful Protestants, like myself, that we should look at who is armed and report them to the police, whereas they are brought by the police. How can you report someone who have been brought by the police to do whatever they are doing to the same police? That would be like a waste of time, because you will just be doing one thing at the same time while you are doing nothing. The other thing, we are here. The cameras are here. It's live. Can you tell me what mistake have those young men there done to resort to the police drawing tear gas to them? What can you say if Arab Kirwa is here? He can tell us what mistake have they done. Are there goons there that were supposed to be suppressed with tear gas? Secondly, even if it would get to that case, because the Constitution provides what measures should be taken. I have watched I have been in the protests from last year, and I can tell you that the police are the one who provoke the young people. One, and you have seen it yourself, they start by throwing tear gas. Where you are just armed. The only thing we are armed with, and it's just a little thing, it's just my phone and my flag. And does this flag warrant me to be shooted by a police officer just because I lift it up as an active and also as an active citizen? That's where the question lies. And I feel that the police officers do not really come to offer security or facilitate the protestants. They come to suppress. They are there with the government to ensure that we don't raise our voices. The government does not hear, and to add this salt on a wound, the government that has never had us, and to be specific, the president. And I want to just take you back for a minute. Whatever we are protesting against was the finance bill, plus we wanted an overhaul of all the cabinets.
All right, just hold that thought. I want us to go to Nakuru and touch base with our reporter, that is Ken Gashui, who is in Nakuru. Good morning to you, Ken Gashui. Today is a big day, June 25th, 1 year later. What's the situation in Nakuru a year later, Gashui?
Good morning, Aseto. Indeed, here in Nakuru, the situation is very calm. We have not seen large numbers of protesters coming out. Actually, there is no grouping of protesters. People are just going on with their normal businesses. And unfortunately, most of the businesses have been closed down. Not many of them have opened because of the fear that perhaps the protest or the procession which the Nakuru residents had given a notice for might turn chaotic. But at the moment we have very heavy police presence within the streets of Nakuru, and also at the Nakuru Railways police station, where we had some of the police officers, some of the protesters had agreed to meet there, but there is a very heavy police presence there. The protesters are yet to meet there. But at the moment we have some of the businesses here, the business persons who can talk to us and tell us exactly how they feel about today. Maybe starting with your name, tell us how do you feel, how is the business today? Tunaweza songa hapa kidogo.
Sawa, kwa majina mimi naitwa Richard Juma Richman. Mfanyikazi wa biashara hapa hivi. Naona leo watu wachache sana, sio wanaogopa nini, na maandamano naona kama ni si mbaya sana. Watu wameambiwa wakae kazi zao na wafanye kazi vile hata waziwazi. Security iko sawa. Naona mambo itakuwa mabaya sana, but kazi iko chini na magari hakuna kwa parking naona.
Pengine ukiangalia ni woga watu wamekuwa nao wakafunga mabiashara, ama ni kipi kimefanya wenzako hapa? Naona majority of the businesses have not been opened.
Ni woga wamekuwa tu, wanaona kama Nairobi siku ile ilikuwa vitu sawa na biashara zilipuliwa, watu wakachukua vitu za wenyewe. Sasa wako na uoga, maybe inaweza kuwa kama siku hiyo ya Nairobi, but tunaomba itakuwa mzuri, haitakuwa kama siku hiyo ya Nairobi. Nakuru itakuwa mzuri sana.
Pengine, what is your message to these the police officers and also to the people who will be coming out to hold a procession later in the day? What is your message to them in terms of maybe maintaining peace and order here?
Naambia maskari wetu wakae wachunge watu vizuri na wasitumie nguvu kupita kiasi. At least waone chunge tu watu, security kuwe tight. Nakuru inakuwa smart, haina mambo mingi.
Thank you very much. Maybe I can speak to one of the residents here, or one of the human rights defenders. Starting with your name, tell us maybe what is the day likely to be like from your eyes?
I guess my name is Atomboya. I'm the CEO of Gaplink International. I'm excited today because ideally Kenyans have got the last word. The people who are in elective positions, the government, those who are from the presidential to the lowest level, the MCAs, these are people that are elected to represent the people. And so if they are to represent the people, they should be sensitive to the people's needs. If we go back to the 25th of June 2024, guys were on the streets. Why? Because of finance bill. And at some point, we thought the government was listening, and we were happy. But again, look at what has been happening. Abductions. People who are coming to the streets are coming for different purposes. The different purposes are what? Selectively, when the government spokesman Mwaura talked, what did he say? That there will be there's no holiday. Well, Kenyans have given themselves a holiday. That's whether they like it or not. And then two, people are in here for different reasons. There are people who are mourning. There are people who are hurt financially and economically. There are people whose businesses are down. There are people who lost almost everything. There are people who've gone to school. And what we see, we are being represented sometimes by people who are not as qualified as other members of the community. So what we are looking at today, and I'm happy with the GNCs, is that they are tribeless. We are coming in as a society. And to the others who probably would be saying that His Excellency Raila Odinga probably did not do much. Yes, he did. But he did not get the blessings of his parents. He was self-made. The people who are coming today will not be called upon because of certain needs. They'll be self-made because they are agitating for their rights. Ideally, again, we look at what we are getting from the other communities, international communities. We have seen a call. It's a solidified call. We stop abductions. Let people live freely. And my call to the government, this is my call now to the government. The government should just do one simple thing. Allow people do what they want to do. People have got memorandums. Let them allow these people to go and represent, to give out their memorandums. After that, people will just sing and go back home. But the moment they'll throw tear gas to the people, that's where the hell comes loose. And then people will saying, maybe those in the government will say that members of the public have become provocative. It's not that the members are becoming provocative. When you unleash terror on them, they are, and they've got a constitutional right to defend themselves. So people will defend themselves. So ideally, and my last word too, this is a fine day. Both the government and the community are gainers and are losers at the same time, depending on how it's handled. If they handle it well, here we are, we'll witness, and we'll give our pro bono services wherever we can. Yes.
Even as we look at, or maybe tell the police to exercise restraint, what is your message to the protesters or the people who will be coming out to hold the procession that we are expecting, as they had given a notification to the police?
The police should know, number one, is that they are living on taxpayers' money. The uniform they are wearing are bought by the taxpayers for them. They are also born in the same society. If everything goes loose, even they themselves will not have a country. So we all jointly need to come together, a call for unity. They should exercise restraint, because already their uniform itself is intimidating.
Now, for fairness, what is your message to the protesters now? What is their responsibility even as they come out to the streets?
I think the protesters had said it clearly from the very beginning. They are coming for a peaceful demonstration. They'll be singing, okay? They have a memorandum to give. They'll want to commemorate those of whom they lost. Remember, they are members of the community, so they have nothing bad. The only point of departure is when tear gas is lobbed to them. And also they'd said this, that while they'll be on the procession, if they find persons of ill motive coming out to destroy properties, they will not allow that. They'll apprehend that person and hand over to the police. That means they are of goodwill.
Thank you very much indeed. Those are some of the views given by the residents here in Nakuru, even as we wait to see how the day will be unfolding. Several groups had given their notice of holding a procession along the streets of Nakuru today, and that permit was issued to them according to what we have seen, the letters from the police. They were given the go-ahead to continue with the procession, and at the moment we have very heavy police presence on the streets just to ensure there is a maintenance of law and order. We have seen police patrolling on foot, in vehicles, and others even on horses, just to ensure they cover the entire Nakuru city. And we also have others camping outside Nakuru city in the estates where we are, the estates that are prone to having some kind of violent protests. We also have heavy police presence there, but we have not seen the coming together or the grouping of protesters as at this moment. And this is something that we shall continue to keep an eye on until we give and ensure that we give our viewers up to date with what is happening. Back to you, Aseto.
Thank you, Gashogi, for bringing us up to speed on the situation in Nakuru. Even as he says that security has been heightened, though there is nothing much that is happening with regard to the protesters showing up, but that businesses have equally shut down because businesses seem to have been afraid based off what happened in Nairobi last week. But then again, we continue to bring you the images from Mombasa County. As you can see, that is Mombasa, and protesters are on the streets with their flags, with their water, with their voices, chanting as they have gone to the streets 1 year later to commemorate their fallen friends, soldiers, and fellow Kenyans who died during the protest last year. As you can see, they're just dancing, enjoying and having a good time, you know, in Mombasa there, as we continue to bring you the very latest. It has been happening all morning as Kenyans actually just walk side by side with police officers, nothing much happening. Police officers are heading and just walking side by side with these Kenyans who are protesting in Mombasa. We have seen organizers there as well with the chants and messages that they have carried in their placards. We need justice today. 1 year later, nothing much has happened. Also just shaming those that they say have been the reason behind the killings and the situation that is in the country today. It is 1 year later since the June 25th protest in Nairobi across the country, and 60 Kenyans have died. We've seen leaders discuss themselves and just address themselves to the situation, and flowers have been laid along the Parliament Road there in that barbed wire fence that has been erected. Now, Kiprono, as we talk about you say that you were part of the Gen Z protest last year. What was the agenda in the protest last year? According to you, what was your agenda when you attended?
My agenda
yes.
was for the Parliament of Kenya to stop passing of the finance bill, then finance bill, into law. But because now that they refused, and after the protest, the president himself in his wisdom, I had to come back and say, fine, I have withdrawn the entire finance bill.
Which was after the fact?
Yes, after the fact. So,
did you manage to go to Parliament?
I didn't manage to reach Parliament. I was at the City Hall. Yeah, but then you have to say that the agenda of this, you see last year, if you compare the two protests, today's protest and last year's protest was purely organic. Someone on TikTok openly said, Baba Raila Odinga stay at home. We did not see the political class meddling in the affairs of the young people. They are also part of the rot in the system. So it is hard to see today, even yesterday, the political class, the allegations that the political class are sponsoring the goons against the young and innocent protesters who are remembering their fallen comrades. Another thing, you see the opposition leaders so much agitated about this matter. It means that the protests have taken a different turn this year. And the political class, you've just shown the speeches by the Honorable Kalonzo Musyoka, Eugene Wamalwa, and Senator Enoch Wambua. These are people who are not new in the system. Eugene Wamalwa was a cabinet minister when Pepe Pendo was killed in Kisumu. Kalonzo Musyoka was a vice president when we lost thousands of lives in 2007. Which new ideas do they bring to the young people? Which new ideas do they bring to Kenya? We also have to ask ourselves, are our protests purely organic or have some political motives? Because if we protest about extrajudicial killings, if we protest about the abductions of the young people, fine, let's protest, go to the office of the Inspector General of the Ministry of Interior, the Arambe House, present our petitions there. By the time it becomes a Ruto must go judge, is where I beg to differ, because Ruto is not the Inspector General of the National Police Service. The National Police Service is an independent body, which has no command of the president. The commander of the National Police Service is the IG Kanja. We're protesting because police brutality is what has escalated. A few months ago, people were killed in cold blood in Angata Barego in Narok, protesting over protecting their historical land. Yeah. Yes. So you have to see that we have to be genuine and organic in what we call for. We cannot be saying we are remembering our fallen comrades, by the way, and start becoming a Ruto must go chant. Then that takes a different motives. And when it takes a different motive like that, Ruto is the state, right? No, because Ruto we donated. Let me explain.
The state is Republic of Kenya.
Yes, we donated powers. He acts on our behalf. He is the head of state because by virtue of social contract we have with him. So by the time we say Ruto must go, we are already threatening the stability of the state.
Let me ask you a question, Akiprona. Just a simple yes or no question. Yes. Is dissent part of governance? Is opposing ideas part of governance? And can anyone in the Republic today say, I don't agree with the president and I want the president to go? Is that a crime?
There are channels that you want the president to go. Even if I'm elected a president, fine. They can petition parliament. There's a way to remove the president. You can petition parliament to initiate impeachment motions against the president, like they did with the former deputy president, right? Mm-hmm. Another option you can remove a regime from power is by voting them out. That's why we have called for more registration of the young people to be voters in 2027. So by the time you want to invade the State House, say Ruto must go today, that's not the right channel. You see, we are the outers of our constitution. Mm-hmm. Any challenge we have with the constitution clearly stipulates ways to remove government from power. You can petition parliament if you are the public, or a member of parliament can initiate an impeachment motion against Ruto.
If I, as Seto today, wake up and say yes, Ruto must go, is that reason enough for I to be shot and killed and disappear?
It is not enough. It is now an issue whereby you say Ruto must go. Even I myself can say Ruto must go now, mm-hmm, right? But I cannot go to State House and say Ruto must go. It's a protected area, man. We have to. We have also to have reasoning and logic in every issue that we are fighting for. Because, fine, Ruto must go. Don't we have channels in the Constitution? Mm-hmm. Article 1, Clause 1 says we must exercise sovereign power only in a manner that is in accordance with this Constitution.
And they can exercise it directly or indirectly as well.
Indirectly through the elected representative. Mm-hmm. That is by petitioning Parliament, mm-hmm, to initiate impeachment, mm-hmm, motion. Directly through voting, mm-hmm, out of, mm-hmm, the leadership. Mm-hmm. We have self-imposed limitations in the Constitution. Let me finish, mm-hmm, this, just a second. We have self-imposed limitations. So by the time, we also need to amend the Constitution, mm-hmm, to say we can walk to State House and say someone must go.
Tetezi, Kenyans have pretty much spoke a lot. If you go back to the Gen Z protest, because that is pretty much our focus today. It is 1 year later of the Gen Z protest, and Kenyans were killed outside the protest. Look at the agenda that they were pushing for during that time. What are some of the issues they were sending out? They were talking about proper use of resources, right? They were talking about adherence to the rule of law. Kenyans were talking about making sure that justice in the system is realized, which if you look at the Constitution addresses itself to these issues. Now here we are today, 1 year later, we're talking about Kenyans who've been killed. There is seemingly nothing that is moving around. And as we sit here today and look at the demonstrations that are happening across the country, one wants to ask the question, at what point does the Mwananchi speak and is heard? What does it take for you to be heard?
I think it takes the fear of president to get out of power for him to reason. It takes lost lives for the president to hear and to reason to the people. Because I wonder why when we started protesting against the finance bill, when we started protesting against the cabinet of William Ruto, he could not reason until people died at the parliament. That's when he had. He had to reason and now revoke the finance bill, which was pretentious. Because I don't think that guy wanted to do it. Secondly, and I want to again respond to my friend Abkirwa, I think we are existing with people who have, do you know the condition we call selective amnesia?
Yeah.
They remember what they want. And the same thing they apply to the Constitution. They want to implement the Constitution in the way that favors them, and where the Constitution does not favor them, they don't feel that it should be implemented. And that's why you can hear him argue now and then that the police department is an independent body. Yes, we know in the Constitution, but not factually, not practically. And that's why we are going through all these problems. Why? Because not practically. Because my friend here, he need to give me time, because I have been silent. At least I gave him his own time. You see, when you tell us that we go to the parliament to present a motion to impeach the president, the same parliament that is bought by the President Ruto, that's why they crapped when he dropped the finance bill, and when young people were dying in the parliament, they were still there seated. Because the president had instructed them, they must pass the bill.
They must pass it. Okay, so we come back to this discussion because I want us to get to a point where we come back. You will respond when you come back.
I've not finished
to be able to find a way forward, because then again we can't sit and continue blaming. We need to find a way forward how police, government, and citizenry can coexist and work together. But I want us to go to the CBD and touch base with Francis Ontoma, our senior reporter. Good morning to you, Ontoma. You are joining us from the CBD. What's the situation like? We've just seen that tear gas has been lobbed outside the Central Business District, but where you are, what's the situation like, Ontoma? The live images coming from the CBD. Shall be touching base with Francis Ontoma a little bit later, but let us go to Jogoo Road right here in Nairobi and touch base with Hamza Yusuf. Hamza, good morning. Jogoo Road, how's the situation? Is the road clear? Public service vehicles plying as normal? What's the situation like along Jogoo Road, Hamza?
Tuko maeneo haya ya bila shaka Jogoo Road, na unavyoona nyuma yangu maafisa wa usalama tayari wamefunga barabara kuhakikisha kwamba hakuna anaingia katikati mwa mji wa Garissa. Na kinyume na siku za hapo awali, unaona kwamba maafisa wa usalama wamebeba rungu na sio bunduki wakati huu. Kwa hivyo wanasema kwamba wale ambao wanapitia katika barabara hii waelekee katika barabara hii ya Buruburu, waweze kutumia barabara ya Buruburu kuingia katikati mwa mji wa Garissa. Kwa hivyo kile wanasema kwamba hawataki kuona yeyote ambaye anapitia barabara hii. Na hawa ni baadhi ya vijana ambao wamezuiliwa kuelekea katikati mwa mji wa Garissa kushiriki maandamano. Japo tumekuwa maeneo ya Donholm, maeneo ya Tasia, na tumeona kwamba hali ni kawaida katika sehemu hiyo, na tumezungumza na baadhi ya wananchi ambao walitueleza kwamba hawatashiriki maandamano. Lakini hawa ni baadhi tu ya vijana ambao wapo hapa. Ndugu, habari yako? Labda tueleze jina lako, na tunaona kwamba kuna maafisa wa usalama sehemu hii na mko hapa. Mumezuiliwa kuingia mtaa ama ni vipi?
Si hata tumezuilewa, watu wanaingia tao kuingia, na watu walikuwa wamechangamka asubuhi sana kabisa. Tunaingia, watu wanaingia. Si kama majenzi lazima tutimize tu ile chenye tulikuwa tumesema, lazima tuitimize. Tunaingia.
Labda saa ngapi umejipanga kuingia katikati mwa mji?
Sasa hivi watu wanatoka, hata mimi mwenyewe niko njiani sasa hivi naelekea sasa hivi. Tunaingia, Ruto lazima aende nyumbani. Ndio hiyo sasa. Lazima aende nyumbani. Tumechoka.
Kuna ile mjadala ambao katika mtandao wa kijamii wengi wanasema kwamba wakati huu sio finance bill. Labda maandamano ya leo inahusiana na nini kwa maoni yako?
Maandamano ya leo tunakumbusha ni kumbukumbu za wale wenzetu wenye waliaga ile wakati wa finance bill. Alafu tena maandamano ya leo ni tunaungana sisi wote, si hata ni majenzi peke yake. Kila mtu wale wase wote. Tuende tutoe mse mazejo. Tumechoka.
Kwa hivyo leo hawendi kazi kabisa?
Hakuna kazi leo. Leo ni holiday venye tulitangaza ni holiday, leo ndio holiday. Sasa hata ukiangalia barabara unaona hakuna shughuli inaendelea ile vizuri.
Vijana wanasema leo ni holiday. Tuzungumze na baadhi ya wenyeji wa sehemu hii ya labda tueleze ndugu, hali unaonaje leo? Naona maafisa wa usalama tayari wamefunga barabara. Kwa maoni yako?
Hakuna kazi wanafanya, wamefunga barabara, wamefungia magari, lakini si make sure tumefika tao. Iwe na njia gani tutafika tao? One term, Sakaja na Ruto, one term. Hakuna njia ingine. Lazima tujipe.
Kuna hapa awali tumeshuhudia kwamba vifo vimetokea katika maandamano ya awali. Labda una hofu kwamba huenda ukapata kwamba labda marafiki zako wakapoteza maisha au hata wewe unahofia?
Sina hofia yoyote. Ilali watu wafanye nini? Watu wajitokeze. Ruto atusikize. Vile tunataka lazima atusikize. Hiyo tu ndio tunaomba, atusikize. Sisi vijana wadogo. Atusikize. Ni hiyo tu.
Asante sana. Wacha tuzungumze na labda mtu ama jamaa wa mwisho hapa. Ndugu, unaitwa nani na labda maoni yako kuhusiana na hali ya leo?
Kwa majina ni Kaunda. Kwa leo si tumeamua kwa sababu tumechoka. Punde imewekelewa mzigo, tumechoka. Kwa sababu kwa maana ni gani? Sisi wananchi wadogo ndio tumebeba hii mzigo. Tukiangalia watu wakubwa ndio wanatunyanyaza kama sisi vijana. So si tumeamua kwenda tao. Lazima tumuweke chini. One time leo.
Na mnaingia kwa bunge?
Hatutaki kusema tutaingia ama tutaingia, lakini State House kwanza ndio tunataka. Tutaingia huko.
Asante sana mtazamaji, hali ndio hiyo. Wanasema kwamba maandamano haya wanasema kwamba wataelekea katikati mwa jiji la Nairobi, kisha watajaribu kuona kama wataingia bunge. Ni mazungumzo wanafanya katika sehemu hii, lakini kile kinaendelea katika sehemu hii ni kwamba tayari maafisa wa usalama wamefunga barabara ya kuelekea katikati mwa jiji la Nairobi, na bila shaka wote wanakaguliwa, wale ambao wanaabiri bodaboda, wale ambao wanatumia magari katika sehemu hii. Kwa hivyo tutaweza kuwaeleza watazamaji hali itakavyokuwa katika sehemu hii, lakini kwa sasa wale ambao wanatumia barabara ya Jogoo Road ni muhimu wafahamu kwamba barabara hiyo kwa sasa imefungwa.
Hamza Yusuf there joining us from Jogoo Road, and Hamza is based in Garissa. So when you hear him mention Garissa, it is because that is his home area. Welcome to Nairobi, Hamza. Tunakupenda zaidi. And as you can see, those are live images from Jogoo Road. We have Mombasa, we have Nakuru, as well as Nairobi there, and a lot, and that is Nairobi CBD, and a lot is happening. As you can see, the road inside towards the CBD, Nairobi has been cordoned off. You cannot access the CBD. Motorists are being routed to use the other long route as they are trying to access the CBD. All these in ensuring that that anyone who accesses the CBD, according to what we've been told by Hamza, is everyone is being checked, going through security before you're granted access. But all this is to ensure that those that are getting into the CBD are actually clean, pretty much. One would argue, how would you then know that? But that is police in offering security. We've heard the young people there saying that they are going to the CBD, whether the police like it or not, they will make it to the CBD. They're saying that wamechoka punda amekewa mzigo, that even as they continue to carry the burden of the country, those in power, those that they have donated power to, continue to misuse the positions that have been donated to them. These are live images coming to you. This should be Mombasa as well on the right, as demonstrators continue marching towards their what would be final destination. But Mombasa has been relatively peaceful, has been actually peaceful, because the demonstrators and the police are working hand by hand. There is music being played in the background. They're dancing to it and just enjoying themselves. Mombasa Raha, you gotta love it. On the left there, that is Mombasa, Nairobi Jogoo Road as well, where we've just been told that the road towards the CBD has been cordoned off. Security is tight along the road there. We continue to follow up on what is happening across the country. We can see that there is also a tense situation as tear gas is now being lobbed. Police officers are dealing with Kenyans there. This looks like around, I can't really tell, but that should be Nairobi, where tear gas has been lobbed. That is towards Jivanji, because I know that road there. No, not Jivanji, this is Moi Avenue there, close to Kencom, where we are seeing that, yes, this is close to Kencom, where police are now lobbing tear gas on the same. That is a young man who is walking with their placard. This is not about you. I want justice. That is pretty much the message that is being shared there. Moi Avenue seems as though is a no-go area because tear gas has been lobbed. Police officers are there. It is a tense situation. As you can see, nothing much is happening along Moi Avenue. There you see the police officers on the left are dealing with that young man who's just walking away from the police officers. You can see police officers with their tear gas launchers there. Nothing much happening, no protesters inside. Police seemingly have taken over. Tear gas has been lobbed. It is different from what we saw in the morning, where police officers were shaking hands, smiling with Kenyans there. Right now seems to be a little bit tense. Why police are lobbing tear gas, we are yet to know, but that is the situation along Moi Avenue. This is close to Railways roundabout. That is also the junction that goes towards Harambee Avenue, towards Vigilance Center, Office of the President, and further down towards Parliament buildings. And as you can see here, again, tear gas is being lobbed. That's along Moi Avenue. We continue to follow up on the latest that is happening. And we continue the conversation, and Kipruto, Arab Kirwa, we continue to have this discussion. And picketing is something that is guaranteed by the Constitution of the Republic under Article 37. And through that picketing, anyone can go picket, issues their petition, and Kenyans can picket over anything that they feel dissatisfied with, right? And with that, we see that there has been a feeling that it is us against them. It has always been as though a citizenry are picketing, but police are seemingly telling them, mtajua sisi ndio tuko. So why is that the situation? Why aren't the police and citizenry working together? What would be?
First, let me begin by responding to my good friend here. He said some people are suffering from selective amnesia, which I believe is speaking of himself, suffering from selective amnesia, because you look at, we are in a democratic society. Your friend is not necessarily my friend. And your enemy is not necessarily my enemy. And your right starts where mine stops. So everyone has a right to share what they feel it's correct. And everyone has a right to believe in any philosophy of any nature. So you know, the problem with this kind of protest and the kind of politics we, the young people, are going through is because someone else seated somewhere will want you to believe that what they believe is right. But believing itself is subjective. So I wouldn't want to delve much into that matter. I've just told him about everything he speaks about. I must not believe it because I am born and raised differently.
Fair point,
so
fair point.
one of the issues that you have raised, police saying, Sisindio, Chuko, that is where we need a overhaul, because you cannot be speaking. You are tasked with protecting the lives of these people who are protesting peacefully. Mm-hmm. So we have seen heightened unprofessionalism from the police service. That is why, as the people, it's now our duty as the people of Kenya, the 51 million of us, to think about what are we going to do to do an overhaul and streamline professionalism in the police service.
All right, so we go to Kakamega County where Alan Chanda is based. Alan Chanda, how is Kakamega this morning? Are Kenyans going about their business as usual? Are roads closed? Has security been heightened? And if there are any demonstrations, just how does it look like, Ochanda?
Well, Dennis, last year, a time like this one in Kakamega County, Kakamega Town, it was ungovernable when Gen Zs poured to the streets in their thousands and suspended peace here. But today, 1 year later, when they are commemorating that particular day, they are saying they are remembering those who lost their lives in that particular, what they term as liberation or rather a revolution by the Gen Zs. But here in Kakamega County today, 25th June, 1 year later, you can see the business community. We've actually been walking around and just checking on the streets of Kakamega that were affected last year, and it's quite calm. We've seen security apparatus really combing the area here and ensuring that nothing, security hitch is not really experienced here. And so these are actually the Kakamega business operators here in their hundreds here. Remember that are taxi operators, matatu operators from the markets here. But let's just talk to some of them. So utasongea pandugu, you just tell us your name and unatokea sector gani and whatever you are doing here, because I can see you are really waving the flags here. Are you what really necessitated that you are coming to the streets today?
Thank you so much. Mimi naitwa Alshula Gilbert na tuko hapa siku ya leo kuweza kujiunga pamoja na zile jamii zile ambao watoto wao waliuawa. Tunajiunga pamoja na inji mzima in commemoration of 1 year anniversary of the death ambazo zili happen kwa vijana wetu ambao ni Gen Zs. So we have come together as a business community in Kakamega to ensure that we join hands with other people, with other Kenyans, just to show solidarity with those bereaved families. And that's why we have met here in a big number, all sectors represented, and that's why ujumbe yetu ni moja, ya kwamba sisi tunasema lazima tukue na maandamano ya amani ambayo inakubalika katika sheria. Kitu ya pili tunasema kwamba serikali isitumie nguvu kuweza kuumiza vijana wetu, kwa sababu in Article 37, the freedom of expression, freedom picketing and demonstration, peaceful demonstration is allowed in the constitution. Kwa hivyo tumekusanyika hapa kusema kwamba ujumbe yetu ni kwamba haiwezekani ya kwamba watu walipigania katiba wakatoa damu tena waweze kupigania tena wakati wana celebrate ile katiba tena wanatoka damu. Kwa hivyo tunataka kuambia serikali ya kwamba they must realize ya kwamba the constitution allows people to have peaceful demonstration, to express themselves, to give their grievances, and that's why we are meeting here today with the whole family. In the last time watu wetu wengi katika ile demonstration kuliingia siasa. We are also calling for a political class wasiingize siasa yao katika maandamano ya vijana. Tunaelewana vizuri? Hatutaki wanasiasa kuteka advantage of demonstration. The youth are doing peaceful demonstration, wanasiasa wanaingia na kuleta goons na kuharibu. And that's why we are saying Kakamega tunataka nini? Amani. Kakamega tunataka nini? Amani. Kenya mzima tunataka nini? Amani. Na hiyo ndio ujumbe yetu, tunajiunga na Wakenya wengine. And that's why we want to say very well, we are also calling for the government. 1 year is a long time before justice has been achieved. We want justice for those people who are killed to be achieved. We want our brothers and sisters who are killed to be compensated. and we are calling for the inspector of police plus all sources of security. Hatutaki tena vijana wetu waweze kuuawa, hatutaki damu tena iweze kumwagika. Asante sana.
Na mmeweza kuzungumza vyema kabisa. Pengine tuweze kupata mwingine ambaye yuko tayari kuzungumza nasi kama ni mfanya biashara. Mwaka uliopita we saw the destruction of property, there was looting, watu waliweza kuingilia maandamano na kuanza wizi na pengine kuharibia jina yale maandamano. Nyinyi kama wafanya biashara hapa Kakamega, maybe you just tell us what really necessitated your coming out, and of course about the previous destruction and wanton destruction of property in Kakamega.
My name's Jocelyn Alusiola. I'm here in solidarity with all the women, all the mothers that lost their kids wakati wa maandamano. Mimi kama biashara wa Kakamega na kiongozi wa Kambi Somali Market, nimesimama hapa kwa sababu tulipoteza watoto wetu. Kila eneo bunge lilipoteza mtoto. So nimekuja hapa kwa niaba ya wanabiashara nikisimama na wale waliopoteza maisha yao, kwa sababu ni uchungu sana mama kupoteza mtoto. Tuna imani mama ndio huwa anazika mtoto, sio mtoto kuzika mama. So tumesimama hapa kwa maandamano ya amani kwa niaba ya wale waliopoteza watoto wao. Kama Kakamega tunaomba amani. Tunaomba kila mahali kukuwe na amani. Na ninawaomba wanasiasa, sisi wanabiashara ndio tunasikia uchungu kwa sababu tunaumia, maduka zetu zinabomolewa, vitu zetu zinaharibika. So tungeomba ikuwe ni maandamano ya amani. Kusikuwe na mwanasiasa mwenye atakuja kuweka moto ndani ili magoons wakuje waanze kutuharibia. Na maaskari tumeona mko kila mahali. Tunawaomba mudumishe amani. Hatutaki kumwaga damu Kenya. Kama Kakamega tunataka amani. Kama soko tunataka amani. Mbarikiwe.
Maybe another one, just tell us utapata nafasi pia tupatie kidogo utatueleza nyinyi kama vijana hapa wafanyi biashara, pengine ni lipi ambalo mnahofia kuhusiana na maandamano, ama pengine mnaunga mkono maandamano ama namna gani msimamo wenu?
Mwanzo naitwa Collins Lumumba. Hii maandamano ya Gen Z imekuwa peaceful, last year ilikuwa peaceful. Kuna goons wanatengenezwa mahali, wanakuja wanaharibu maandamano. Wao ndio wanaibia wanabiashara. Ukiangalia Gen Z hakuna kitu ambayo wanaiba. Wao wanakuja wanataka ile haki ya katiba. Na mimi nasema hivi, people united shall never be defeated. Na naambia Mheshimiwa Rais, if thou shall not feel sorry for the sorrow of the lost glory, then the desire for the fire shall serve for fire.
Umeweza kukasirika sana, pengine ndugu utatoa kofia kwa sababu ya kivuli. Utueleze jina lako, umetokea biashara gani, sekta ipi, na nyinyi kama wafanyi biashara, what is the feeling on ground? Because last year we saw looting and the wanton destruction of property. You incurred losses here. Maybe it's quite early, it's fairly early in the day, and maybe we expect that maybe in the day we shall see maybe Gen Z, those youth really pouring to the streets, but so far we've not experienced or rather witnessed them coming to the streets. But what is the feeling on ground?
Asante. Kwa majina ni Alfred Oyalo, chairman wa wanabiashara Kakamega. Jambo lenye limefanya tusimame hapa sisi wote kama wafanyabiashara ni kwamba sisi kama wanabiashara tumesimama pamoja na GNC kuhakikisha kwamba siku ya leo anniversary yao inaenda vizuri. Walipoteza wenzao na sisi kama wazazi tunasema poleni sana. Na leo hii tukisimama hapa tunaambia serikali kwamba sisi tunataka amani. Wakati hii event inaendelea, peeni vijana nafasi yao, waomboleze wenzao kwa amani, si ndio? Sisi tunataka amani Kakamega yetu. Hawa vijana wameomba nafasi siku ya leo waweze kufanya maandamano yao ya amani. Na nimesikia chairman wa GNC hapa Kakamega akisema vizuri kwamba kuna wanasiasa wamejipanga mahali, wengine wamewapigia simu kupanga maandamano hiyo iwe maandamano ya kuharibu vitu ya wafanyabiashara ili goons waingilie. Nasema hivi, chairman wa GNC hapa Kakamega, shikilia hilo wazo kwamba maandamano hiyo ya amani, mwenye atapatikana akiiba, nyinyi wenyewe mudiri na yeye mumutoe kwa maandamano apate kichapo, kwa sababu asipatikane kwa kuiba mali ya mfanyabiashara aende hasara. La mwisho, sisi wanabiashara tukiwa hapa, sisi wenyewe tuko town, tunaangalia kazi zetu. Hatungependa serikali uwe tena vijana. Tungependa serikali idumisha amani, si ndio? Wafanyabiashara oye!
Sawa. Kwa sababu ya muda tutakuwa bado tukiweza kuzungumza baadaye na wewe tafadhali. But of course, Dennis, just listening in from the business community here, of course, coming from multiple sectors here, matatu operators, taxi operator, of course, town service, tuk-tuk, and of course, the women from the markets here really making a rallying call to ensure that security is actually upheld here. But of course, we also want to listen in from my colleague, Fred Kagonye, who is actually in Kangemi. Fred, what is happening in Kangemi?
Thank you very much, Alan Machanda. I am in Kangemi along Wayaki Way, where everything is running as normal, but the only difference is there's a roadblock that has been mounted few meters from where we are coming to you live from, and as we can see vehicles coming from the Kabete region coming towards town are being turned at that roadblock that can be seen. And it's not every vehicle, just passengers who are traveling using public means are the ones who've been made to alight from there, and then they are walking across this Wayaki Way, the famous Kangemi Bridge. And then a few meters from where we are standing, there are vehicles which are applying now, are carrying the passengers and transporting them from Kangemi all the way to town. So that's the only difference that we've seen here. This is a hot spot, especially when it comes to demos. There are always chaos here, bonfire are lit, traffic is always disrupted. But today, everything seems to be normal. And we can see the residents from Kangemi or maybe from other regions who are just standing here. They've occupied the bridge. They've been there observing what's just happening. In terms of police officers, we've seen quite a number, not the numbers that we are used to when it comes to Kangemi, but around 30 police officers are here. Just trying to maintain security. So Kangemi has come, nothing much is happening, and we are waiting to see what happens as the day goes by.
Those are live images from Kakamega. Alan Machanda joining us earlier, telling us how the situation is there. And as you come to Nairobi, Kangemi, there is a roadblock. But as you talk about roadblocks, these are some of the roadblocks that are there in Nairobi now. Thika Road, there is a roadblock at Guru Nanak. Then we have Ngong Road near KNH, that is Kenyatta National Hospital as well. And other roadblocks that we can confirm. Other development is that those who are using taxi services, they are not allowed to carry more than 2 passengers. Otherwise, everyone is expected to alight. And latest update for Matatu users, Kiambu Road is closed at Muthaiga Gulf C for Matatus, and Thika Road is closed at Ngara. Limuru Road is closed at Gigiri and Gashie Interchange. Jogoo Road is closed at Shauri Moyo, and no Matatus are allowed in town today. Say today is our working nation. It's all about Shubaru the whole day. But those are images that you're receiving and seeing. That is from Mombasa. And we come briefly to our conversation in studio as we continue to just discuss the matters at hand. And Kipruto, I want to ask the question. The reason why Gen Zs went to the streets, I love to call them Kenyans, went to the streets last year was because of the Finance Bill 2024. And the members of parliament at the time did not listen to what was being said by the young people. They went ahead and passed that bill to be an act of parliament. And that is the reason why we saw Parliament was overrun, because you don't listen to us, yet we've donated this power to you. You are our servants. We are your bosses. As we sit here today and still have this discussion, what's your position on our leaders and listening to what the citizens have to say, whether it's from the president to the MCA?
I think first, we the people are suffering. And because we the people are suffering, we're the ones who elect these leaders. They are supposed to be servants, servant leadership, because we donate our power to them in every election cycle, from the MCA to the president. But they should listen. My position is that they should listen, because they are the ones who are there to serve the people. Do
they listen?
To some point, no, because this is a part culture. In 1963, we raised a part culture. The moment Kenya got independence is a moment where every leader who was there at that time felt it was the right time for them to amass wealth by looking for huge lands, huge money.
Is it happening right now?
It is a continuous. So when you are raised in a society where you are socialized over pad culture, because we saw it in 1963, we saw it when Moi was the president, because the new leadership is coming in. Somebody leaves office after 5 years, is an elected member of parliament, he is worth 100 million. Their salary is $1 million, is almost 800,000 a month, right? So we have seen it. We have been raised in a society where everyone is waiting for the opportunity to eat. It's a socialized behavior. What do we do as the young people to get rid of this behavior? Because even in the public service appointment, including recruitments to the public service, it's who do you know that matters. It's not what you have in your brains having gone to school. So I think as the young people, and I like the fact that the young people last year said, fine, we want the political class to keep off these protests, because that was the beginning of the realization that we have been breeding the enemy all the times. Said that if we keep the political class out of this conversation about changing the country, we are able to, in 2027, elect the new leadership. I am able to say, because Dennis is vying for president, I'm going to charge him because he's the new in the system. Mm-hmm. But now, it depends on how you've been socialized, because you've seen MPs, you've seen members of parliament and the cabinet ministers, they're moving away in choppers, dishing out money and everything, which is not good. Looking at most of the money are proceeds of crime and corruption. And we ask ourselves a question as the people, who is right to lead? Because it invites a question of, we say one term, fine, it is one term. If we say one term, who is right to lead? Who is the leader that the young people want? Is it Fred Matiang'i? Is it David Maraga?
The young people have actually said,
I'm just saying.
The young people of this country have said they want a leadership that will get rid of corruption, leadership that will respect the rule of law, a leadership that will...
Out of the available options in the leadership cycle right now, do they fit for that?
As you can see, those are live images in Nairobi. That is outside Kencom. As we can see, we have an individual. We have border riders. Not sure what is happening there, but those are live images from we are seeing, being told there is an individual who's been injured and is being rushed to hospital by fellow Kenyans, border riders. What exactly happened, whether he is shot, whether he's been hit by a baton, whether he is they're suffocating from tear gas, we're yet to know, but that is the situation outside. That should be National Archives, Nairobi, along Moi Avenue. We continue to bring you live images. That is Mombasa as well, where Kenyans are now seated in the road. Nothing much happening, just demonstrating, sitting, chanting, and going about their businesses. Today, it is a situation in various towns across the country. Those are images as well in that should be around Jogoo Road, if I'm not mistaken, as well, where Kenyans are trying to find their way to the CBD. Remember that there are many roads that have been closed. But we continue the conversation, and I come to you, Mtetezi, now. Arap Kirwa has said a lot in terms of the leadership that we have today.
Just a second, I finish. Okay. What I was saying is the fact that because we find a fault in the leaders we have elected since 1963, it is the high time every young person in every constituency, in every ward, in every county, and in the entire country steps up and fights for that position. Say that after 5 years in 2027, if we elect the young people, we now benchmark and say, fine, what is the point of difference between the departed leaders and the new leaders?
Mtetezi, now, there's a lot that has been said with regard to the young people and what they want. Then there is the aspect that the young people said what they wanted last year. They pushed that agenda. They went to parliament because they were not being heard. We know those that were killed. And the simple question is, Does the current leadership just listen to what is being said and act on petitions and memoranda that is given to them?
My response is no. But before I dig to that, I want to invite my friend to just look up the bold newspaper. Just draw his phone. And as I respond to you, let him show me one goon who was shot dead, who is appearing in this list, if the state government is not the one that brings those goons, and that's why they don't kill them. Now, to your question, I think, one, the current government, led by the president, does not listen, not just to young people, but to its citizens. Reasons. One, I can confidently say that the parliament that we have, to start with, does not represent the interest of the people, majority of the MPs. They represent the interest of the president. And that's why, as I had said earlier, you see, they had to wait for people to be killed until the president makes a call to them, and you see them in a very, if I may call it, in a very, like, it's a blind way. They clap that now the people have won after lives has been lost. And I want to challenge even my brother and tell him, we have tried this. We have taken petitions to court. We have presented them to parliament. They are never implemented. They are never heard. And that's why you've seen, and I want you to look at today's demonstration. It's not just about the young people. We have just seen Kakamega. We have the Gen Zoti. Because why? This administration have proved that it does not listen to anyone. And to make it worse, you don't have to be in the protest for you to be killed. They can come for you back at your home. And that's why you see our parents have joined us, because they know our sons and daughters are not even safe in our hands. So if we don't speak out now, then there will be no one to speak for any one of us. And that's why I want to submit that the situation we have gotten, we have gone to the parliament, it is no longer hard. We have seen what have been happening with the elected leaders. And that's why we as the young people are now speaking to the president direct, because we have a right. We have a right to now directly represent ourselves. And that's what is enshrined in Article 37 of the Constitution. And that's what we are speaking and saying that now, I think this system should be cleaned up. We start afresh, because we told the president to chase away the cabinets who are corrupt. Who is the first person he brought back? Mulkomen. He's now the head of security. How? It's just like the president just drew. It's the way you can correct some litter and throw it in the bin, then mix it, and then look which one looks more attractive, and you now use it. That's what the president did. It's like he spit on us, on our face.
I want to ask a question in terms of the responsibility of the young people in taking charge of their country. Because we live in a country where 75%, more than 75% of the population is the young people. That means it is pretty much the young people who make decisions based off during the election day. But we also go back to the election period and note that young people did not come out to vote as expected in 2022. As we forge forward and say the future of the country is in the hands of the young people, and even in demonstrations that take place in the country, they have to be peaceful, they have to happen within the law. And we ask the question, what is the role of the young people, first of all, in changing the trajectory of the country, in making sure that accountability is held by all, from the president to the last person in the civil service, and that even in our demonstration, we are the first people to maintain the rule of law? I will ask that question to both of you when you come from Nyeri County. And Nyeri County is where Clement Masombo, our Nyeri-based reporter, is at. Good morning to you, Masombo. How is Nyeri County this morning as the country continues to commemorate 1-year anniversary since the Gen Z demos in 2024?
Well, very good morning to you, Aseto. Indeed, a few minutes ago, there was a relative calmness in Nyeri town, but right now, as we speak, I'm at Whispers Park. This Whispers Park in Nyeri is where it was Whispers Park was the meeting point last year during last year's demonstration, and it appears like today is still also the assembly point. And as you can see behind me, a number of youth have already turned up in large numbers, carrying placards and blowing whistles, of course singing anti-government slogans. And their message is just one. They are all asking for justice. They are all seeking for justice and accountability and good governance. That is all they are asking for. But right now, let me speak to a few of them to get their views on what they have to say today.
Leo ni siku kubwa. We are celebrating. We are coming to memory ourselves after 1 year. So si tunasema Kasongo aondoke. Tunataka to create a new country with a new Turia. Tunataka tuanzie a new country with a new mission. So tunataka at least gava iangalie mayouth man, iache kuwaua, wanatuhurt sana man. So tunataka government ijue haifanyi vizuri.
Like seriously, he promised to make life easier. Sasa it's becoming much harder. Hatuna chakula, hatuna kazi, hatuna mabibi, hatuna nini. Kila budget ikisomwa, life is becoming harder. Tumetoka.
All right, as said, there you have it from a section of youth who have already shown up here in Nyeri County, of course, protesting and demanding for justice. But as you can see from this other side, we have a truck that is coming with youth also on board, and this is almost similar to the situation that we witnessed here in Nyeri town last year. And just taking a walk around the town, what we can report is that so far we have seen a number of businesses, of course, closed down in fear of what might happen. Remember that last year we witnessed some looting where youth also invaded the Kieni Member of Parliament's supermarket, that is the Shieni supermarket, and walked away with the valuables. And maybe from the fear of what was witnessed last year, it is for that reason that we can tell that maybe the traders and business people here in Nyeri town are afraid, and as a result they have opted to close down most of the shops here. So we will be waiting to see how the situation actually unfolds here in Nyeri town before we move to other parts, including Karatina and Narumoru town, which are key towns here in Nyeri County. Aseto.
Thank you, Masombo, joining us there from Nyeri. And mambo imekuwa ngumu, hatuna hata mabibi. Those are some of the issues being raised there. But we continue with our conversation. I asked the question, what is the responsibility on the that lie on the young people's shoulders with regard to seeing a new country with new governance, and that is ending corruption, accountability, and good governance being core of that leadership?
It's good you asked that question, because in 2022, I asked my colleagues that we go register as voters at that time. It is the same young people who are on the streets today. Some of my colleagues are on the street. Their response could be, I'm going to register as a voter, ndio nisaidia nini. That's what they could say, ndio nisaidia nini in Kiswahili. So, I think it's high time as the young people, because we have more than 8 million young people in this country. It's high time. The first responsibility to ensure a safer and a better Kenya for the future is for you to go and take voters card in any other polling station. If you are in Nyeri, if you are anywhere you are, the first step, visit that constituency IBC office, because the voter registration is not yet open. Register as a voter. The second alternative also, step up and fight for the position of leadership, because we cannot be pushing leaders. We want us to, as the young people, to be in the same space the leadership is, so that we understand the challenges that the country is facing, and we are able to lead. Because if it's a generation, if you come with a mind that I've been elected by the young people in Bomet County to represent them in the Senate or the National Assembly, I will do everything every day to make sure I create safe space, opportunities, and everything for the young people. But now going to the street, because if you ask those people who are in the streets, everyone to raise their hand if they are in the voter register, not even a quarter of them will raise their hands. And it invites a fundamental question. Are we going to see a further apathy again in 2027? Having fought all this way for these 5 years, are we going to see a further apathy where a young person can say, I don't see the need of taking vote? Because your vote is your future.
Tetezi.
Yes.
What is the role of the young people in changing the country, ensuring that constitutionalism and rule of law is upheld?
To start with, personally, I'm a person who believes in walking the talk. That's why after here, I'll be joining my colleagues in the streets. And also to let you know that I'm the Secretary General to a movement with the name Young Liberators Movement, a movement that has been formed out of the Gen Z. We formed a movement to ensure that young people shall go for the positions of leadership. Two, to ensure that we encourage and we ensure our young people have registered and they have the national IDs. And despite the president delaying the IEBC, we shall ensure every youth is registered as a voter. The reason, our main reason is because we say we have the numbers. And we believe that we can use the numbers to infiltrate and ensure we take over the system. Secondly, we have come up with an agenda of educating our parents who have been voting with political apathy. We are teaching our parents that let us not vote for this person because he gives our handouts. Let us not vote for this person because he is from a single mother. Let us vote for true leaders. That is another thing that we are doing. And we are talking to our parents and they are receiving as well. And I can assure you that in 2027, there shall be a lot of change. The other thing that we are doing is to ensure that we can come up with a way that we can ensure our constitution is being followed and implemented. And the only way to do this, it is to strengthen, and those people will be elected. We strengthen the constitution. Because I bet if you are following the constitution, then we could not be in the situation that we are in. Because one of the reasons that we are here, it is because the MPs don't want the CDF disbanded. And that's why they support the president to make sure the CDF is not disbanded. But if we have the independence of each and everybody, the parliament, the police, the judiciary, and all those, our country could be flowing. But if every person have to depend on the president mercy for you to succeed in anything or for you to make some money in that case, then we shall continue going deeper and deeper in this hole. And the last thing that I want to say is that we also need to, as citizens, to ensure that we still raise our voice. Because I believe the more we raise it, at the end of the day, it shall be heard. And we cannot be intimidated by the police that our voices will not be heard. It shall be heard. And let us all, as citizens, everyone should take a responsibility as an individual to ensure that you become the first implementer of constitution, so that at the end of the day, we have a country that follows the rule of law as a whole.
All right. I want us to just look at the front page of the Standard, a Luta Continua. And I'll just go through a little bit of it. A nation bleeds. What began as a cry against punitive taxes erupted into the country's deadliest protest wave in decades now, from the brutal killings of 29-year-old Rex Masai to the execution-style shooting of 12-year-old Kennedy Onyango. Police turned guns on unarmed youth demanding justice, dignity, and a future. I want us to talk about police brutality in the country, because whichever way you want to look at it, the 60 that died, those that have disappeared have not been found to date, the abductions that we continue to see in the country allegedly committed by the police, to the death of Alberto Juang, to the shooting of Boniface Kariuki, to the shooting of the gentleman in Mwiki last week. We continue, it is a conversation that has to be told, has to be spoken. As young people in this country, is the police working for the citizenry? Or is the police working to protect those in leadership positions?
First, let me begin by trying to. It seems my good friend here lives in a different Kenya. Just a minute. When you allege that the president delayed the appointment of the IBC commissioners, it's false. It is the same Wiper party and the opposition that went to court in protest of one of the nominees, that was Ambassador Koki Muli. So there was a court injunction stopping the process. Can the president appoint the selection panel if there's a court injunction?
Okay, the process has proceeded.
Yes, the process proceeded. So my good friend here should also have information when you are trying to make allegations against the head of state. When you see, on the issue of the police protection and brutality, I believe, as Kiprona Rapkirwa, it's my individual belief, that it is the role of the police to protect me and you, right? When we are protesting. But at a point where we throw stones at the police, at the point where we provoke the police, you saw a popular influencer last week provoking the police. What do you expect the police to respond with? So what we need to do as the people, we should prioritize our civic duty of protesting peacefully. If I come and provoke you, Dennis, what will be your response? Because we also have to know the police are humans. If you throw stone at the police, you don't accept
the question.
Yes.
What is your response to police brutality over the cases that we have seen of individuals who've been felled by police bullets, by the killing of Albert Ojwang in police custody? I'm asking the question.
On the issue of police brutality in regards to the same, I think it is very wrong for the police, the allegations that the police killed Albert Ojwang. But now, and then also the young people who are in the headlines today, because they did nothing wrong, actually. Theirs was just to speak up for their beloved country. So what I could say is that it is very wrong, and it's against the law to end someone's life, to take away someone's life for whatever reason. So what should happen, of course, is every individual policeman, that bullet that was used to kill Rex Masai, as the bullet number and the owner of the gun, right? The same thing to all these people. People like Dan Selomondi, who were found in a pit, they were abducted. So we also demand answers as the young people, because we cannot live in a mafiosi state where people can come here at the Standard Media Group and abduct Dennis, and tomorrow you found somewhere else, or abduct Kiprono, tomorrow I'm found in Ngong Forest. So we demand accountability for these matters. We demand the fact that every individual police person, because they are professional and they have their own code of conduct and they abide by the constitution of this country, they should take individual responsibility. And I like the fact that the DIG, after the pressure from the public, steps aside to pave way for the investigation.
That is where rubber meets the road, because as you rightfully said, it's after the pressure from the public. I'll come to you, but I want us to go to Kitengela, where my colleague Finiko Luoch is at. Finiko Luoch, good morning to you. How are you? How is Kitengela? Has been also one of the areas that has been put on the spot with regard to demonstrations, but how is it 1 year later in Kitengela, Finiko?
Good morning, Aseto. I can get you clearly. There's really much action coming from Kitengela. We have 2 police barricades when you're coming from Mlolongo, and I can say the protests are full-blown in Kitengela. Let's remember that it's a commemoration of the 2024 Gen Z protest that culminated to the Gen Z accessing the National Parliament. As you can hear behind me, it's police action against the protesters. There are tear gas canisters being lobbed at us, at the protesters, and also there are no businesses going on in this town. All businesses are closed. Behind me, there's really much action. There's really much action. This police presence, these tear gas canisters being lobbed at the protesters. that is the update that we have at now. We will keep you updated in our subsequent updates as we continue following the proceedings live from Kitengela.
Thank you, Phoenix. They're joining us from Kitengela as it brings us up to speed. In Kitengela, police are equally lobbing tear gas. And I come to you, Mtetezi, real quick as we talk about police brutality and the need for that to end. And the question is the police working for the Mwananchi, or is the police hell-bent in only protecting those in leadership?
Mine is very simple. The police protect those in power, and those in power protect the police. And that's why to date, even after all these Gen Zs were killed, amounting to 60 and more that we don't know where they are up to date, we have not seen any culprit held accountable. Reason being, the police are being protected also by those in power. And that's why they fight. They use excessive force because they feel they have the protection of the state, of the leadership that is in power. And if I can just take you back in a little, like the previous 2 weeks, from where I come from, Nyandaro, we have had 2 people die in a police custody. After a Juang's death, already we have 2, where I come from. You wonder, did these people provoke the police in a police cell where you are alone and the police are many with compared to one person? Secondly, do you remember the young fisherman who was killed in Nakuru, Brian Odhiambo? His mistake was just he went to the lake to fish, which was illegal, I agree. But was that the right choice to do? To kill him and to hide him? He has never been seen till today. So I feel that our police, despite them being our brothers and sisters, they must stop being used by the state to finish the life of the citizens, the Kenyan citizen. And I feel as a nation, we have entered into a ditch where the police themselves do no longer understand their role. Instead of keeping law and order, they are the ones who are doing the opposite. And that's why you find they escort goons, they kill Protestants who are unarmed. And as per the Constitution, when you are unarmed, no one should face you with a repression or to suppress you. The reason why we are seeing all this, and to finish with, is that the state is protecting the police officers. And if I can mention this, that's why you see the DIG had the guts to come and present himself in a press and he's the main suspect. Why could such a person get such an audacity, if he's not enjoying protection from somewhere?
John Mtetezi is a youth leader and Kiprono Arab Kira is a political analyst this morning as we continue to dissect the ongoing demonstrations across the country. Those are live images coming to you from Mombasa. We also have images from Nairobi, and a lot is happening. We've seen police lob tear gas against the protesters in Mombasa. However, it's relatively calm. We've seen protesters from early morning engaging with police, walking with police, even smiling and shaking hands in Mombasa. They've had to sit down along Moi Avenue and continue with the same, but there is action happening in Kitengela. As you can see, those are protesters exchanging with police officers, tear gas being lobbed and stones being thrown as well. Why is that the case? Earlier, Phoenix Olwatch brought us up to speed, telling us that there is a barricade from as you leave Syokimau going towards Kitengela, and it has been the situation where very many roads in the city have been barricaded along Jogoro. Talk about Thika Road, talk about Waiyaki Way, Ngong Road. All the roads that are leading towards the CBD have been closed. But then again, remember that this coverage continues. We continue to bring you the very latest blow by blow, bit by bit, aluta continua. Be sure to get yourself a copy of the Standard and just be sure to stand with those that died. Zubeda Kananu is coming here in a few. She will be coming in to bring in the very latest. And to our guest, Asanteni Sana, for a good job. As you go there, Tetezi, remember to be peaceful. Yeah, we must insist on that, and equally just take care of yourself. Yes, wave the flag, be peaceful, and just talk to fellow Kenyans who are there. Equally to you, Mr. Kiprono Arab Kirwa, we continue
I have
to
a 30 seconds message to the...
You maintain peace, a message?
I have a 30 seconds message to some of the young person that I believe in. She has actually fought for this country for the longest time. She's called Sharon Chepchirchir. She is the MCA for Tulwet Chuyat Ward aspirant. I would want to ask her, even as she joined the demonstrations in the streets today, may she be safe, because we need her to lead us into the next generation of conversation.
Thank you. Kenyans out there real quick.
Let us just be bold, like our
The bold
standard. Because this is my inspiration every day. Talking the truth to power. And that's why I stand here and I'll be walking to the street to talk the truth to power.
To power. And that is where my coverage of the same ends. But remember, we do these the whole day today. Zubaida Kananu will be taking the mantle. Zubaida Kananu will be taking in and continue with the coverage. Asante sana. Enjoy the rest of your viewing and the coverage. Good morning.
Atif. Itabidi ukae chini Karani. Karani, itabidi ukae chini hapo.
Bos kutoka mbele.
Kenan, just in case watu umesettle, mtaka unaweza rudi. Na ndio tumefika tu hiyo time.
Hiyo kebo ndio ukae naye.